What's up, world? It is Jason Janai, and today I want to share with you a real, honest, off the cuff, completely real talk, kind of first impressions video of the Rane 1 DJ controller. I bought this controller a little while ago before it even arrived in the United States, thanks to my good friends at AGI Pro DJ. Shout out to Kevin and Ty real quick. They're the guys I go to and get a lot of gear from. Anyway, I bought this controller and I finally was able to unbox it, and I was able to use it the same day for a 2-hour set on Twitch, which I had a lot of fun kind of messing with it and putting it to the test in a real kind of playing scenario. Anyway, I want to share with you some thoughts, some good and some bad, about this controller in hopes of helping someone that is in the market to level up their DJ controller game in 2021 or beyond. And I just want to share with you the things that I noticed and took away from playing with this thing for just 2 hours. I will be releasing another video about this Rane 1 controller, and I will be comparing it to the SRT 1000. So be on the lookout for that video, or click the link if it's available when you're watching this. So let's talk about the good, and let's talk about the maybe not so good. And I'm going to be very honest and very direct, because I want you, if you're in the market to buy a controller, to buy the right controller for you, for your style, and that's going to work for you in the long run. I was able to unbox this. I was able to use it. Setting it up in Serato Pro DJ, which is the platform that I use, was super easy. You know, it was just a quick driver install, and it happened pretty much right away. Super easy to do. I'd like to start off talking a little bit about the construction of the unit, because that was probably the most striking thing I noticed as I removed it from the box. The unit itself feels incredibly solid. I think the Rane and the InMusic team really knocked it out of the park. This controller is built like a tank, literally like a tank. It feels super solid. It doesn't feel flimsy or plasticky at all, if plasticky is a word. It's made out of the metal kind of material, and it has significant amount of weight. If I compare it to the Pioneer-like product, the SRT 1000, this feels that it's almost double the weight. So that's something that is a pro for me, because it's really built for the rigors of the road, but also could be a con for other people. So I share that right up front. In terms of the construction and quality of the unit, I love a lot of things that this unit does have. I noticed right away that the buttons, they felt super responsive, and I like that they weren't mushy. They actually felt like they were super solid. I loved the crossfader. The Mag 4 crossfader here is absolutely incredible. You know, the knobs and the paddles and the feature set all kind of work as you would expect from a Rane quality mixer product, and I think they did a great job with that. The 7-inch platters were very responsive. I think they felt really good, and although I prefer a 12-inch platter, I think the 7-inch platter was acted and performed the way I would expect it to, you know, just kind of scaling it down. I also liked the finger search kind of pad that can be found on each side of the controller, so that it was easy to kind of scan a song and kind of like check things out before I dropped into some of the songs I was playing. I thought that was good. I did really like the way they laid out the back of the unit, where they have the power, they have a fan, they have the ability to control the motor torque of the motorized platters. The motorized platter is just awesome, giving you a low and a high option. I like the fact that they offer 2 USBs, like every legitimate controller does at this point of technology kind of evolution. I love the fact that they had XLR outs for the booth cabling to your booth monitor, as well as main. They give you 2 master outs, an RCA out as well as an XLR out. Another thing that I really like is the fact that this controller gives you the option to bring in 2 additional decks with line and phono control options for both. So if you are looking to incorporate the use of a CDJ product or a Denon product or even a turntable, this controller will allow you to do that. And I think it's really cool and well thought out. In addition to that, there's an awesome RCA aux in And this controller does give you two mic inputs that are actually controllable on the face of the overall unit. If I kind of walk through this side of the unit, I like that you have level, low, and high controls for both microphones, and you have the ability to mic to or to switch over and your auxiliary line in. I think that's a pretty cool option. Now you do have some deck contour controls, a crossfader control, and you also have the headphone control where they do give you 1/4 inch and 1/8 inch. So I think from a controller perspective, they kind of hit all of the things that a lot of DJs are in search for at this point in the controller kind of technology phase that everything is in. I love the motorized platters. I love the layout of the unit for the most part. If I was to kind of talk about or address some of the concerning things or things that I wasn't super fond of, there's a couple things that stood out to me upon using it for the first 2 hours of time, which I was able to do. And the major things were, first and foremost, the symmetry of the unit. And I understand why it is laid out the way it is, but to me, it was a little distracting because I am super OCD that the units are actually not symmetric. So if you're taking a photo from the front, you notice that the player on the right side is closer to the controls than the player on the left side. And I think I understand exactly why it was done that way. But I think if I was going to design a brand new controller, I probably would have addressed that so that it was the equal thing on both sides. In addition to that, from a layout perspective, there was another issue that I kind of wasn't really fond of that I discovered after I was about 30 minutes into my set. And that was as I was always going over to do some scratch work or whatever with my right hand, I noticed that as I put my hand down on the face of the controller and I was working with my left hand and the crossfader, that this pitch bend button was fairly close. I mean, it's within, 2.5 or so inches from the actual crossfader. And I just felt that it was kind of annoying. And it's not something that would maybe hinder me from buying this unit, but it was definitely something that I would have to get used to. Now, in terms of comfort and playing with this unit, I thought once I had all of the levels set and I was able to kind of work through just kind of getting it initially set up, it worked really, really well. I did also notice that although the platters are motorized and very responsive, I felt that the pitch on each line was just a little bit different from the comparable, CDJ or even Rane 12 product. And they could be the very same internal working components, but I just felt that the pitch controls on both platters on this unit were a little bit different, which, was easy to adjust to. But I think if it's someone that is newer to the industry or newer to to DJing in general, they might have to get used to it a little bit more. I think the unit is a great solution for a lot of people in the business. I think it brings a lot of things to the table in a positive world that makes it a viable option or viable, considerable option for anyone to acquire. The investment for this controller right now is north of $1,500 US in the United States. So I think, it opens up a lot of other things to maybe consider as well. I do think that this controller brings something fresh to the market, and I think it pairs incredibly well with Serato DJ. One of the shortfalls with this controller that I have heard a number of people speak about since it has been released is the fact that this controller has no onboard effect rack of any kind. So the paddles and the control kind of like universe for all effects for this controller have to run through Serato DJ, and you're using software generated effects, not control generated effects. And although these effects are post kind of fader and give you the option of kind of doing some stuff, I think that for the investment of this unit, having onboard effects really should be something that should exist in this unit itself. It's not a deal breaker for me, as I'm not someone that weighs heavy on effects all of the time, but I think for someone that is new to the business, or someone that's new to DJing, or someone that's kind of using this as a hobby or creating mixes or whatever, that may get in the way of some of the things that you're able to do, because it's just not as accurate as onboard kind of like effects in my own personal experience. So there you have it. There's some pros, there's some cons. Like any piece of equipment, you know, you have to weigh the options. You have to consider the things that are important to you. And of course, the way you play. You have to think of the events that you're doing. If you're a working DJ, if you're a hobbyist, a bedroom DJ, or someone that's doing mixes and you're just getting into the industry, you have to consider if these things matter to you or not. And I think there are some people in some places where none of the issues that I found would matter to them. And I feel that these issues would matter to some others. So it really depends on who you are, what you do, and what you're all about. I think the unit as a whole is an awesome option for someone. I think it certainly has its place in the industry. The sound card, the sound quality that came out of this unit was awesome. It sounded good on Twitch. It sounded good on the stream, and it was fun to kind of play with. If you have any questions, or you want to know anything that I can possibly share with you and keep it real, please do me a favor and drop into the comments down below and have at it. Ask away. I'll do my best to answer them, or I will reach out to people that can help me answering the questions from a tech perspective. My name is Jason Janai. I appreciate you checking out this video, and be on the lookout because I have a number of videos that are going to be dropping right here on this channel about this controller and comparing this controller to other controllers that are on the market and available for DJs right here in the calendar year 2021. If you have any questions, you want me to go into anything, drop in the comments down below. And once again, thanks for watching this video. I'm Jason. Peace.